Hey, Pedro.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm good.
Are you cold?
It's too cold, yeah. I didn't work today.
You didn't?
No.
Too cold to paint?
Yeah.
I guess the paint would freeze, wouldn't it? Maybe.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go on very good.
We can stay outside or it's too cold.
Yeah, it's too cold. It's too cold to be outside, period.
It's too cold.
I stayed inside all day except to take the trash out. I took the trash out after supper, but
oh my God.
It was cold out there.
Yeah.
Very cold. Very, very cold.
And my car was frozen too.
Wow. Did y'all have a lot of ice?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did too. And all over the trees and the car. And they said it wasn't too bad on the roads later today. So I think they're having school 2 hours late tomorrow. So.
Oh, really?
That's what they just announced. Jennifer got a email that they would go 2 hours late. So unless that changes, that can change. Because when I went out to take the trash, it was raining. I mean, it was like raining.
Mm-hmm.
So if it keeps doing that, it's going to freeze on the road. So I don't know.
Yeah. And outside on the stores is still freezing.
32.
You can slicing. Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I might fall. I don't want to fall. Yeah, it was ice all over everything at our house. So I wish it had been snow. I'd rather have snow than ice. I don't care for ice.
Snow is better than ice.
Yes. Yeah, snow's pretty, and you can at least get some traction and in your car and go in snow, but you can't go in ice. You go slidey around. Okay. I haven't heard from anybody else. Let me be sure nobody else texts me. Let's see. Not heard from anybody else. So maybe they'll come on here in a minute. We can have a big class. Or we'll have a little class with you. It doesn't matter. Either way. I have lots for us to do. So I got some pronunciation for ED stuff. Yeah. And some other stuff. Let me get the rest of this off this other over here. Let's see. That's the wrong one.
Oh my goodness.
You need a nap?
Yeah. I need a monster. Do you move your computer now?
Yeah, well, this is my big computer over there.
Oh.
It's the one that Jennifer does all of her schoolwork on, and we keep all the pictures on and stuff like that. Everybody's, but I have a laptop that I use for ELL and doing Zoom because it's easier because I can move it around from place to place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I like my laptop, but my big computer over here is so old that we couldn't get a microphone for it, so I couldn't use it for Zoom. So I had to buy a laptop. That's okay. that's fine. It'll last me a long time, hopefully. So, but I like my laptop, but some things I have to do on the big computer because the laptop doesn't have everything that it has, and it doesn't have my old files on it. The old stuff, like the papers that I had given out to y'all, are on my old computer. So I still have to use both of them. That's okay. So, all right. Well, I don't know if anybody else is going to get on or not. Oh, I need to do the roll before I forget. Let me get over here and mark. I didn't pull my sheet out so I can mark people here. All right, today is the 11th, right? Yes, okay. So Pedro is here. All right. We'll lay that over there in case somebody else comes on. And we will go ahead and do, I'm going to flip over here and share screen, and we'll go ahead and do the, because I've got a quarter till 7. We'll go ahead and do the devotion. Share screen. Well, there we go. Well, diddle. That's not going to work. Where's my, whoops. There we go. Now, okay. Okay. The scripture tonight is found in Matthew. It's found in Matthew, the 17th chapter, and verses 1 through 3. And this is what the picture here shows illustrates it very well and shows it very well, because this is the time of the transfiguration where Jesus was changed and taken up. And the scripture says Jesus took Peter and James and John to a very high mountain. And there Jesus was completely changed. His face was shining like the sun, and all at once Moses and Elijah were there talking with Jesus. And that's Moses and Elijah have come down on either side. I think that's Moses with the 10 Commandments there, and the other one is Elijah, I think. And they came down from heaven, and they're talking, and you can see the disciples. They looked a little bit scared. I think I would have been a little bit scared too with all of this happening. So you can go to Matthew 17 and read all about it in that chapter, or read a little bit more about it in that chapter. But this was toward the end of Jesus' time on earth. All right, we're going to come back to share in a, whoops. Let me go ahead and get that ready while I'm over here. And then, let's see. Now, that'll be ready when we come back to share. We'll do some work in the book first, and then we'll go back to the share screen, and we'll work on our ED pronunciation. Okay. All right, we are on page 122. Starting lesson 16. And this is still some words that have 2 consonants coming together in the middle. If you'll notice in that first word, the B and the S that are in the middle, they're 2 consonants, absent. You can almost take a line and just pull it down in between those 2 consonants, and that's how to pronounce the word. Because line would go down between B and S, and that would be absent.
That's the two syllables?
Yes, 2 syllables. You'll pronounce it in 2 syllables. All of these will be pronounced in 2 syllables. When they have the 2 consonants coming together in the middle, that'll split them up into 2 syllables. So, okay. The first one we already said is absent. The second one is
absent. Then it's a banjo.
Banjo, yes. What are the 2 consonants in the middle?
N and J.
Yes. Okay, the next is lantern.
Lantern.
What are the 2 consonants?
N, T.
N and T, yes. Canteen.
Canteen, N, T.
N and T again. Cactus.
Cactus, C and T.
Yes. Ransom.
Ransom, N and S.
Yes. Vampire.
Vampire, M and P.
Yes. Shampoo.
Shampoo is N and P.
Garlic.
Garlic is R, L.
Yes. Harness.
Harness is R and N.
Parcel.
Parcel is R and C.
Yes. Margin.
Margin, R and G.
Yes. Altar.
Altar is L and T.
Yes. Altar again, which is spelled a little bit different and a different meaning, but it's pronounced the same.
How you spell each one?
Okay, the first one, altar, A-L-T-A-R, is like you're going to get married and you're going to walk down to the altar or go to the altar at church. Altar, the A-L-T-E-R, means I'm going to alter your grade or change your grade from an A to a B. So it's to change. The ER is to change something.
But you pronounce the same?
It's pronounced exactly the same. That's one of those homonyms that we've had. That was it. Homographs. That's what they were. I can't remember which was which. Homographs. Homographs. Yes, that's one of those homographs where they're pronounced the same, but they're spelled differently and have different meanings. But they. If you said the word altar to somebody, they wouldn't know which you were meaning unless you used it in a sentence.
You have to continue the, how you said, the subject? No.
Altar would be a subject. The A-L-T-A-R could be
you have to read the noun.
Nouns, yes.
Yeah.
Altar, A-L-T-A-R, would be a noun because it would be like a place in a church. Altar, E-R, would be a verb because you're doing something. You're altering something. I'm going to alter my hair color to green. I'm going to alter my shirt to white. You're going to change.
Alter. Okay. I'm going to alter the neck of my.
Yes, you can alter the neck.
Alter, I'm going to make it different.
Yes. To make it, to change it, to make it different. Yes, very good. Good.
The alter uses the people who make it sweet and the laundry and alter all your stuff, all your pants, shirt, and cotton, okay.
Yes, they're called alterations, and that's part of that word, alterations. They do alterations. The alterations would be a noun. People at the dry cleaners do alterations of your clothes. They will alter your clothes, and that alter by itself is a verb. So yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Very good. You're putting things together really good. Very good. All right. Next one is wisdom.
Wisdom. S and D.
Yes. Fender.
Fender is N and D. What's the mean fender?
Fender, like the fender on your car.
Ah, yeah, that right.
Yeah.
Like a swing or beam.
Yeah, like the like the front part of your car, or the back part, because it'd be a front fender or a back fender. So if somebody hit you, you might say, he hit the fender on my car, or that back part. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get a better definition for it. It's the only one I can think of right now, but there may be a better one. Let's see. Oh, piddle sticks. There we go. Fender. Fender. Oh, good heavens. It brought up a Fender guitar. It is a brand of guitar also. There is a guitar called a Fender guitar.
Fender, okay.
Spelling. No, definition. Okay. The mud guard or area around the wheel of a vehicle. So it's that back part that comes up and over your wheel that covers it, or the front part that comes up and over, just right up over the wheel. If that makes sense. Here comes somebody. Here comes Norma. Hang on. Time out. Norma's coming. She's connecting. Not connecting. Come on, connect.
She forgot the password.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it comes. There you are.
I'm here. I'm sorry because I'm late today.
Hey, that's okay. We're just getting started. So we already did well, what did we do? We did the
sorry.
What did we do? The devotion. We did the devotion, and we're just starting on page 122, lesson 16.
Okay, 122.
Is your foot feeling better?
Yes, only my husband is not feel good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he has a gastritis.
Oh, yes.
That
makes you.
He start to sick the Monday. He don't work all week. This Monday, they say they make a little surgery. They put a little camera in his stomach.
Yeah.
His stomach, pero well, I think so. It's a symptoms that he got it because he take a lot of medicine for pneumonia.
Yeah.
He take a lot of medicine. Now he don't feel good.
That medicine probably upset his stomach.
Yeah, I know.
Now he got the how you say?
Hello?
Side
effects.
Side
yes.
effects. Yeah. Side effects.
Yes, side effects. Yes, it's side effect for pneumonia.
Oh, goodness. Well, bless his heart. Hopefully did they give him something for his stomach?
Yeah.
More pills.
More pills.
That's the problem. Yes, more medicine.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully this will do the trick and he won't have this problem anymore.
I know, very well. And he tried to be well, pero
he's been sick enough. Okay.
Yeah, he started to sick and sick and sick. I think so. He liked to be in a house.
Oh.
But I'm not sure.
Oh
okay.
my goodness.
You don't see me? Yes.
No,
why
we
you
can't
don't tell
see
me?
you.
I'm sorry.
Now we can see you. I forgot to tell you, we can't see you, Nora.
Okay. But you hear me. That's good. Sorry. Hi, Pedro.
My other light. Now
But
we can see you.
But I can see you on the screen.
Yeah? You can see
I can
me?
see you. No, I can only when you talk. I see you, but I can see you on the screen.
You need check in your
Well, I can
the
see
top
you.
in the top of your computer. You need press and see view all.
Well, Pedro just went away. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the wrong button,
check
Pedro.
Are you work computer or cell phone?
Ahí en tu pantalla no tienes unas bolitas blancas abajo.
The special weather statement.
¿Bolitas blancas?
Ajá. O para algo para esquivarlo, para esquivar. Cambiarte de pantalla.
¿No me miras o qué?
Ahorita sí, cuando tú estás hablando, sí apareces, pero yo cuando la maestra está hablando, desapareces.
Es porque ella está hablando.
No, y porque yo me veo ahí.
Yo sí te veo.
¿Sí me ves?
Ajá.
Ok.
It's okay. Sorry, Miss Phyllis.
Ok, ahora ahí estamos los tres ahora. Ahí estamos los tres ahora.
Okay.
Can you see Norman now?
Yeah.
I'll see you both.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We were on page 122 and we're about halfway through pronunciation of the words and deciding what the two consonants in the middle of the words are. Because if you took those words and split them in two, drew a line down between the two consonants in the middle, that would be how you pronounce them. For instance, the first one, absent, if you drew a line in between the B and the S, those two consonants, that would be your two, well, I just lost my train of thought. Two, help. Anyway, that'll be the way you pronounce it. Ab and cent would be your two parts. Absent.
Ab and S.
Yes. And you can do that with all of these words all the way down through there. We did just got through talking about the two words in the third column, alter and alter. That's another one of our homophones and homographs that are spelled differently, pronounced the same, but mean different.
N-T, C-N-T.
Okay. Let's see. Where were we? At wisdom. We did wisdom. We did fender. That's what we were doing was fender. Okay.
Yes. Banjo is N-G. Banjo is N-G.
Which one?
Banjo?
Banjo.
Oh, banjo. Banjo.
Yes. N and J.
Banjo. Yeah. Lantern is N-T. Cactus is C-N-T.
Yes.
Ramsom is N-S. Vampire, M-P. Shampoo is N-P. Garlic is R-L. Harness is R-N. Parcel is R-C. Margin, R-G. Halter is All-T. Halter is L-T too. Wisdom, S-D.
Yes.
Offender is N-D.
Yes. We're just
Edward word is Eden W.
Yes.
State is isn't. Census is N and S. Welfare is L and F.
Welfare.
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 Okay.
Welfare.
Welfare.
Hetic is C and T. C and T. C and T. Yeah. Obtain is B and T. Oblong is B and L.
What that mean, oblong?
Oblong is like this way. It's some things are square, like a square. Some things are rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
This is oblong. It's kind of like an oval, but it's longer. It's not like it. I can't do an oval. That's kind of an oval, but it's more like this. It's rounded on the ends like a tablecloth. Sometimes you'll see oblong tablecloths. They're long and they're rounded on the ends. So they would look like, let me find a piece of paper.
It's oblong. Oblong. I remember guess one teacher.
It would look kind of like that. Can't see it, can you?
It's largo.
It's not showing up.
Like a large. It's like a large. Oblongo is oblongo. They talk about some square. Yeah, this is oblong.
Yeah.
Like
This
a oval.
This oval.
If it was an oval, it would be a little bit shorter. But an oval
is more long.
It's oval, but it's long.
Okay, that means it's like this a long oval.
Yeah, like a long oval. That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Moscow is S and C. London is N and D. Boycott Y and C.
Obtain, oblong.
Boycott, yes.
Okay, Y and C. The slumber is S and L.
M B.
M and B, yes.
M and B, yeah.
M and B.
Yes. Turnip is R and N. Turnip.
What
and N.
does that mean? What does that mean, turnip?
Turnip.
Is that flower?
No, it's you know what turnip greens are? Like collard greens and kale and the green leafy turnip greens. Cauliflower. I mean, yeah, not cauliflower. Kale and collard greens.
Oh yeah, it's like a leaf.
Greens. Okay, the green part is called turnip greens. The bottom part of it looks like a
white.
Looks kind of like an apple, but it's white. It's white and it may have a little bit of red in it, but it's the bottom part of the turnip greens. It's the turnip. It's a vegetable.
Yeah, they say turnip greens. Yeah.
Yeah, turnip greens are good. I like turnips too. You can cut up the turnips. It's kind of like cutting up a potato, and I cook them like potatoes. I just put them on and just kind of slice them up and cook them and mash them kind of like mashed potatoes. But they have they kind of have a bitter taste. It's kind of it's not like mashed potato. You would tell the difference. If you thought it was mashed potatoes and you took a bite, you would not be happy. It would not taste like mashed potatoes. But it's the bottom part of the grain. Let me see if there's a picture on here.
Okay.
of the turnip and the turnip greens together.
Are you tired?
Yeah.
Turnip green. I said turnip.
There we go. Well, that's not very big.
They say nabo.
Nabo? Oh, nabo.
Pero creo que es las flores. Yes, turnip. Yeah.
It's looking like a relish.
It looks kind of like a radish, and
Or big one.
it feels kind of like a radish. But it's
Okay.
just it's a little bit bigger than a radish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Turnip.
Yeah. You get you some the next time you go to the grocery store and cook you some and see if you like them. Some people don't like them at all because they are a little bit bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're bitter. Now, do y'all eat like turnip greens or kale or collard greens in Mexico? Do they grow anything like that, like a green leafy vegetable that you cook and eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, is it like our turnip greens or
It's like a turnip, I think.
green?
Yeah.
They leave the coal, I think so.
Collard greens?
Yeah.
They're all about the same. I think collard greens taste a little bit different, but they're almost the same. I've only had collard greens one time. I like turnip greens better, but I have had collard greens. That was at a restaurant, so
Yes, the restaurant is good.
I like to cook. I like to cook turnip greens though and eat them. They're good. Okay.
The
Next.
next one is Barden, is RD. The last one is persist, is R and S.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. Any others of the words we need to get a definition for?
Burden.
Burden.
Mm-hmm.
Like something that's bothering you. Like you were like your parents were sick and you were having to take care of them and take care of their business and do your job and all this, and that's a big burden on you. Sometimes you'll hear it's an idiom.
Carga.
Burden on
Okay.
your
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
I lose my pencil.
Okay. Now
I got it over here.
we'll find the word meanings over on this next page because most
Slumber.
slumber is sleep.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Any others? That all?
Fender,
No.
states,
No.
and the parcel. Parcel is like a land.
Parcel. Yes, you can have a parcel of land, like an acre of land or that parcel of land.
Okay. Alter.
It can also be.
Alter.
It can also be a box. Let me see how they do that. Well, I still got turnip greens up here. Get off of there.
Alter es alterar. Winston. Harvey. ¿Sabes qué es ransom?
Ransom. Oh, ransom. Cactus, census, state, ransom. Rescate.
¿Rescate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, rescate. Yeah. Y donde dice canteen es lo que me estoy pensando.
For parcel can also mean a package.
Okay.
Canteen es como los refrigeradores que están en Walmart donde tienen las...
Sí, es lo que estaba pensando, cantina, donde ponen las degustaciones.
Ajá.
Okay. Es canteen. Canteen. Canteen
is a thing you can drink water out of. It's kind of rounded like, and drink water out of it. The cowboys used to have it a lot. Army people have them to put their water in. Usually they strap on so that they can carry their water with them. Let's see if there's a picture of one on here. Well, that didn't
Go
work.
frío.
Are you cold?
A little bit. I wear only my t-shirt, pero sí, sí, pero siente frío acá.
Canteen definition. Maybe I'll show a picture. Of course not.
Okay, canteen, lantern, absent.
This just says a small water bottle as used by soldiers or campers.
Like a,
yeah, that's a canteen. Yes, yes.
They can be flat, no? I check something is flat because I check some soldier they bring
they're
a little
usually
square.
kind of flat.
Yes, it's
sometimes
flat. But when they put water, it's they
sometimes
bring water.
They're round. Yeah. The soldiers use them, especially when they're like out in the field, in the like over in Afghanistan, to put their water in to take with them if they're going to be out somewhere, because they probably won't find a cup of water on the side of the road, so they have to carry it in something sturdy.
Okay.
And usually it's flat because usually they put it kind of like a woman's purse. They may strap it over them, or they'll tie it on or hook it on, so it kind of has to lay flat. That's why they're flat.
I think so. Some people don't bring water, some wine.
No,
I think you're right now.
There is something called a flask. And that's the same thing as a canteen, but the flask is well known for having your whiskey or your wine or whatever in it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the rich people go around with their flask. Sometimes they'll have it in their pocket. They'll pull it out and have a sip, and then they'll put it back in their pocket. You know, nobody knows. So. Okay, let's do word meanings on the next page. This ought to be easy because we just talked about most of these words.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to look at them. It shouldn't take you too long. Let's see there. Well, I'll give you 3 minutes. The hiccups.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. I'm going to go back here and work on my ED pronunciations.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
No. You give me 1 minute more.
1 minute more. Okay, I can do it.
Okay. Moscow. Are you hearing my husband?
I hear him.
Okay.
Maybe he's feeling better.
Yeah. Voy a poner tantito mute.
You're fine. You're fine. You okay, Pedro?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I want a minute too.
Yo, you need, okay. All right.
No, not sure.
No, you okay? I'll give you another minute.
No.
You good? All right.
Yeah,
Norma,
yeah.
you ready or you need another minute? I think she needs another minute. No, you good? I can't hear you. She's muted. She's muted herself, so we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Now she's
Sorry.
off. Now she's off.
I don't sound sorry.
It was so quiet.
Yes.
Okay, number 1. Pedro.
A heavy load is called a burden.
Yes,
Burden.
that is correct.
Yes.
Burden. Number 2, Norma.
Another word that means to get something is obtain. Obtain?
Yes, obtain. That's correct. Number 3, Pedro.
If you are not present in the class or at a meeting, you are absent.
Absent.
Yes, very good.
Okay. I like that.
Number 4, Norma.
In history, this is a corpse that rise from the grave at the night to suck the blood of a sleeping person. Vampire.
Vampire, yes.
Wow.
Number 5, Pedro.
The price of payment demand for the release of a kidnapped person of property is called ransom.
Ransom. Yes, that is correct. All right. Number 6, Norma.
This large piece of the land in the country often has a big house, or it is a... I put the state. I don't know if it's sure.
Estate. That is correct. Yes.
It's correct.
It is called an estate.
Estate. Okay.
Number 7, Pedro.
This plant is most often found in the desert of the New World. Cactus.
Cactus. Yes. Okay, number 8, Norma.
Okay, this container for water is used by campers or people in the army. It's canteen.
All right, that's a good one for you.
Pedro, show me.
All right. Okay, number 9, Pedro.
This is another word for sleep, slumber.
Yes, that is correct. Number 10, Norma.
This is put in a horse, donkey, etc. in order to pull a plow or cart. Harness. Harness?
Yeah.
Okay, harness.
That is correct. Number 11, Pedro.
This is taken in the United States every 10 years to find out how many people live in the country. Census.
Census. Okay. Yes, that is correct. All right.
I don't know if it was every 10 years.
Yes, every 10 years.
Okay. Number 12.
Number 12, Norma.
This is a capital city of the England. It's London.
Yes. Number 13, Pedro.
And the capital city of Russia is Moscow.
Moscow.
Yes. Moscow. Yes.
Moscow.
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 That is correct.
Like a cow in the finish. Okay?
Like a cow.
Yeah.
Like a cow.
Yeah, to keep trying no matter how hard the chore to task my seems is to persist.
Persist. Yes, that is correct. 15, Pedro.
When you join with others to stop using something because you are against it or want to force a change, you are boycotting.
Boycotting, yes, yes. Number 16, Norma.
Okay, you can use this word to describe a day that seemed very confused and fast to you, hectic.
Hectic, yes, very good.
Yeah.
Now,
we did it.
Y'all got all of those correct. You didn't have a wrong one.
Yes.
Every one of them was correct. Yay.
Yeah, we tried to do. Yeah.
Wow, doing good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the reactions. Okay.
Let's see what time it is up here. All right. Okay, we
got
reacciones.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and read our story, and we'll have time to answer questions to it, and then We'll do the about the story questions, and then we'll do the rest of it next week, probably, because I want us to do some work on our pronunciation of ED at the end of words.
Okay.
So we have some words for study or new words. Some are new words, some are not. Okay. Some are not really even words. Like the first word is gnaw.
No.
N-A-W. It means no. He's saying gnaw instead of no. I don't think gnaw is even a word. No. I'm pretty sure it's not really. Let me see what it says.
That's mean when you say nah.
Nah. Right. Nah. Something like that. No. Nah. I'm not going down there. Nah. Yeah, it's kind of a slang word.
It's like I have a question. Pedro, you want to work tomorrow? Nah.
Right. Yeah, just like that. Yep, that's it. That's it.
Too cool. Okay.
Is no a word? Here we go. Okay. No is defined as no in Southern slang. So it is a slang word, or just a word that takes the place of the correct word, which the correct word is no. It means no. Okay. Lonesome.
Lonesome?
What is lonesome?
Is the same as lonely?
Kind of like lonely.
Alone?
Yeah.
Like alone?
You're very lonesome, or you're very lonely, or alone by yourself. Yes. We learned this next one, haymaker.
Haymaker.
In the, let's see, it was in the, what story was it in? It was in one of our stories about the fighting. And the haymaker was where he hit him up against the chin.
Like a walker. Labrador, dice acá.
Yeah, we'll during the fight we'll read about the haymaker, which is kind of it's like a hit him in the jaw, something like that. But it's just the name of a
punch.
A punch, yeah, a name of a punch. Is a kind of a punch.
Like a punch?
Yeah. Not punch you drink, punch that you get hit with.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two different kinds of punches. So, hey, dove. What's a dove?
It's a bird.
The bird that flies around, a pretty bird. Tackle.
Tackle.
It's I'm so hungry and thinking tacos.
Right. If you're watching a football game and somebody comes up and jumps on one of the guys, knocks him down, that's a tackle. Kind of jumping on somebody and knocking them down. Scooted.
Scooted. Oh my God, what I got?
Yo tengo patinando. Why the people telescope? Oh no.
Like a skate. A skate.
Kind of like a scoot. It's kind of like scooting, or kind of like if you fell on the floor and you kind of slide your body a little bit. That way you're kind of scooting over toward or moving toward the window. He scooted toward the window, or he moved toward the window. I think of it more when you're like sitting on the floor and just kind of scooting, moving crazy like.
It's como like a slide, I see.
I don't know how they use it in the story. We'll read that in a minute and see what I have forgotten now what exactly it meant in the story, but I think it's about the same thing. Flattened.
It's like when you use shoes with no heels.
Right. Shoes with no heels are flattened.
Plano.
It's like a ball or a balloon. If you had a balloon that had lots of air and you let the air out, it's flat. Okay, you flatten that balloon.
Okay.
Okay, spurted.
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 I don't know.
Okay. He hit him in the jaw and blood spurted out on the road.
Like a spit.
Sprint, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handkerchief.
Handkerchief is
Handkerchief.
Pedro's looking for one. I don't have one either. It's the little square piece of cloth.
yeah,
You can blow your nose on, or I think in this situation,
When
they
you cry.
yeah,
You
when you cry,
cry.
you can get your tears, or if you got hit and you're bleeding, you could put it up there and catch the blood. So
Okay. You
it
cry
has lots of
to
handy
Stuart.
And Stuart is just a name. It's the name of
Okay.
the person that wrote this
Yeah, homonym.
story.
Mhm.
Homonym means
Homonym. Mhm.
homonym is the word that means the opposite.
Yeah.
Synonym is the same. Homonym is the opposite. What's a factory?
Factory.
It's when the people work and make a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
It's a big
The building.
big company, big building.
Okay.
Like oh, what's the name of it now? It's not WCI. It's I can't think of the name of the factory. Well, like the car factory makes lots of cars every day. It just continuously makes things. It may be a car, it may be a
factory,
refrigerator, it may be a furniture factory where it's couches and chairs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and the factory is a piece
the building.
It's
no,
a building.
a piece yeah. How you make the dresses with factory?
Mm-hmm.
No, una tela, ¿cómo se dice tela?
Textile. Clothes.
No, es
clothes.
Factory.
Tela. Ah.
Mm-hmm.
This is
clothes, a piece of clothes.
A factory is a building or group of buildings where goods are manufactured or assembled.
It's clothes.
It can be clothes, it can be furniture, it can be appliances, it can be
cars,
like a piece of this.
Clothes. It's a piece of clothes.
No, it's a factory. To make the dresses, to make the... This is a factory too?
You can, a factory does make dresses also.
Ya ves? Eso
yes.
Tela.
Yeah. That's material that you have.
Material.
Yes. That's what you're thinking of, material.
Okay, material.
Okay, so we're going to see what all these words have to do with our story. And this story is written by, and it tells you at the end of the story who the writer is. Over on page 125 up there at the top, it says Jesse Stewart. Adaptation from the thread that runs so true. And he wrote an autobiography about himself. Autobiography is something that tells about himself. A biography, if you write it, talks about someone else. But autobiography is one that you write about yourself. And this is one of the stories out of that book, that this is the thread that runs so true. And he is a writer. He was alive between 1907 and 1984, and he was a teacher. So this story takes place a week after Stewart began his first job teaching. And he was in a one-room country schoolhouse. All the grades were in the same room. Grades 1 through 12 were all in the same one room. And he chose that particular school because one of his students was a large bully. We know what a bully is. Mm-hmm. And his name was Guy Hawkins. And we'll find out what happens to Guy. Ooh. Well, this Guy Hawkins had beat up Jesse's sister.
Okay.
And when she was the teacher there, she was the teacher before Jessie Stewart was. And she got beat up by Guy Hawkins. So we're going to see what happens when Jessie Stewart comes in now after his sister has been there and been beaten up, and see what happens. Okay, let's see. Let's let Norma, if you will read from the beginning down to halfway through the second column, stop where it says the bud spurted as he started to get up. That'll be your last sentence. And then Pedro, you'll start with, I let him get to his feet. That paragraph. You see where it's at? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. Let's see what happened to Guy Hawkins.
Okay. I started. Did you forget something, Guy? I asked it now. I have never forgotten nothing. He reminded me. Then what do you want? I asked. With you, he said. I didn't like your sister. You know what I done to her? Yes, I know what you did to her, I said. I am going to do something to you. He threatened it. I don't like you. I don't like teachers. I said, never another person with your name will teach this school. Not as so long as I am here. Can't you go to another school? I asked, my temper rising. No, no, he shouted. If anybody lives, anybody lives, you'll live. I wasn't lonesome ballet first, and I am going to no other school because of you. I looked at his face. I was red as a sliced beet, fire dancing in his pale blue eyes. Pale or blue eyes. I know, Guy, meant every word he said. I know I had to face him and to fight. There was no another way around. Will you let me take my necktie off? I said, remembered, I had been choked by a fellow pulling my necktie once in a fight. I'm sorry. Yep. Take off the purry tie. Roll up the sleeves of your white shirt too, he said, but they'll be dirty by the time I sweep this floor up with you. He shot out his long arm, but I ducked. I felt the wind from his thrust against my ear. I mustn't let him clinch me, I thought. Then he came back with another right and I ducked his second lick. I come around with my first lick, a right, and planted in on his jaw. No a good lick, but he just enough to jar him and make him mad. When he rushed at me, I sidestepped.
He stepped over to the side.
Sidestep, yeah. Okay. He missed it. By the time he had turned around, I caught him a haymaker on the chin that reeled him. Oh. Then I followed up with another leg and hard as I had ever hit a man. Yes, I didn't bring him down. He come back for more, but he didn't reach me this time. He was right. I did get my shirt dirty. I dubbed toe the hair with a flying tackle. I hit him beneath the knees. I had tackled like this in a football. I had tackled hard, and I never tackled anybody harder than Guy. His feet went from under him, and I scurried past on the pine floor. I tackled him too quickly when he expected me to come back at him with his fist. What is fist? I don't know. that he went down before he could catch himself with his hands. His face hit flat against the floor and his nose was flattened. The blood spurted and they started to go up. Ooh. They're fighting.
Not pretty, huh?
No.
I let him get to his feet. I wondered if I should. What I knew was either him or me. One of us had to whip. When he did get to his feet after that awful fall, I wandered into him. I hit fast and I hit hard. He swung wild. His fingernail took a straight of hair from my neck and left a red mark that smart and the blood oozed
Oozed like it came out. It seeped out.
Oozed through. I pounded his chin. I caught him on the jaw. I reeled him back and follow up. I gave him a left to the short ribs while my right in a split second caught his mouth. Blood spurted again. Yet he was not true, but I knew I had him. Had enough, I panted. He didn't answer. I didn't ask him a second time. I hit him hard enough to knock 2 men down. I followed up with a haymaker under the chin and laid him across the desk. Then he rolled to the floor with the blood running from his nose and mouth. His eyes were rolled back. I was nearly out of breath. My hand hurt badly. My heart pounded. This is teaching school, I thought. If this goes with it, then I remember I had asked for it. I asked for this school. I would take no other. When Guy came to his senses, he looked up at me. I was putting a wet, cool handkerchief on his head. When he started to get up, I helped him to his feet. Mr. Stewart, I really got it put on me. He admitted. You are some fighter. This was the first time he had ever called me Mr. Stewart. I'm not much of fighting until I had to fight, I said. You asked for it. There was no way around. I had to fight you. I know it, he said. I had in mind to whip you ever since I heard you use a gun to teach this school. But you win. You win far too, he admitted. I didn't think you could hit like that. Guy was still weak. His nose and mouth kept bleeding. He didn't have a handkerchief, and I gave him a clean one. Think you can make it home all right, Guy? I think so, he said. He walked slower from the schoolhouse than he had walked in.
Hey, this was a bad fight, wasn't it?
Yes.
And wonder what would happen nowadays in school if this happened. If the teacher and the student got into a fight like this, what would happen?
This wasn't in the high school.
in
I
every
don't
place.
know. It doesn't really say. Well, it was in the
think...
one. I don't know how old guy was. It was in a one-room schoolhouse that had grades 1 through 12. So I don't know what grade he was in. Probably an older student. I would say he would be in high school.
I think so. They are teenagers.
High school.
Yes.
Yeah.
High school. Well, this is the.
What would happen today? This happened.
Oh no.
They probably wouldn't have got away with it, would they?
Mm-hmm.
Probably would have been some parents involved and some policemen involved, and probably the teacher would have gone to jail, and the parents would have sued the teacher, and it would have been a lot different if it had happened today.
Yeah.
But back then, during this time, that's how they saw things.
Is it in 1947?
Yeah,
49.
that's how they saw things back then. Okay, there's a little bit of strange reading in this. If you look back in that first, the first thing we were in that the second sentence is the word no. That means no. So this is country Southern talking. That guy is talking. So that's why some of these words don't sound exactly right. He says, no, I never forgot nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't put the G. He didn't say nothing. He said, I didn't forget nothing. So that's some Southern talk in there. Another place I noticed, and about that fourth paragraph down, he says, no, he shouted, if anybody leaves, you'll leave. I was in Lonesome Valley first, and I ain't gonna go to no other school because of you. That's not exactly good grammar. He said, I ain't gonna go to no other school because of you. So down in the couple of paragraphs after that, he was talking about Mr. Stewart had asked if he could take his tie off, and Guy says, yep, take off that purty tie, P-U-R-T-Y. He means pretty, P-R-E-T-T-Y, but that's how he talked back then. Yep, take off that purty tie. He was talking real country and real Southern. Let's see, there was another place. On the last page over there about in the bottom of the last paragraph of the first column of the page 125, says, I've had in mind to whip you ever since I heard you's gonna teach this school. You's gonna teach, you's gonna to teach is not very good grammar. Those aren't even words. I heard you's gonna to teach this school. He meant you's gonna to teach at this school. He meant I heard, ever since I heard you were going to teach at this school is what he meant. But his country talking, that's what it came out to say. All right, and it was a pretty bad fight, wasn't it, between them? And the story talked and gave the blow by blow, how he hit him and the blood spurted, and he fell on the floor and it flattened his nose, and it was pretty specific about what happened during the fight.
Yeah.
Any words or anything that we need to talk about that wasn't quite clear? I know it's hard when they don't talk exactly grammar correct.
What the slice a bit?
Where is it at?
Slice a bit. It's when you read the nana, he shoot it if anybody lives. You live. It was in Lonesome Valley first, and I am going to another school because of you. I looked at his face. I was red as a sliced beet.
Oh, a slice. Yeah. Have you ever eat beets? You know what a beet is?
Beet like
that you
no.
eat that are red. You never ate a beet? It looks kind of like a turnip, actually, but it's red. It turns red.
Yeah.
You can get pickle beets, or you can eat just the plain beets.
Yeah.
So, they turn really, really red when you cook them. And that's why he said his face turned red as a beet. Because beets are, I mean, they are very, very red. Beet.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if it shows a picture. Well, yeah, here's a picture of it. You can see they're kind of red in the picture. But when you cook them, they really get red.
Oh, yeah.
They look kind of like that turnip did. It's about the size of a turnip. Some of them are. And you cook them and they get really, really red. That's why he was just comparing how red his face was to a beet.
Sidestep it.
Yeah. He was just moving to the side. He stepped over to the side, and they just call it sidestep. He was fixing to hit him. So when his fist was coming at him, and he stepped over to the side. His whole body.
Does that mean sidestep?
Yes.
Step. How you pronounce?
Sidestepped.
Sidestep. Okay.
Yes.
Sidestep. Okay.
It just meant he moved his body over, or stepped over to the side, so that he wouldn't get hit with the.
And waited. I let him get to his feet. I wondered if I should, for I knew it was either him or me. One of us had to weep. When he did get to his feet after the awful fall, I waded into him.
I waded into him.
Waded?
Waded. When he did get to his feet after that awful fall, I waded into him. I hit fast and I hit hard, meaning that he, like when you wade into the river or whatever, you're stepping into the river. Well, he started stepping in and hitting him one after another. So he waded into him or started into hitting him.
So does that mean waiting?
Waded, yes. Let me see if there's a better definition. Oh.
I'm waiting to him.
Waded. Let's see.
Te lo agarró a madrazos.
Waded definition.
What you said? It was a teacher. Teacher fighting with the student. But the student was bad boy.
Yeah. The what?
The student was bad boy.
He was bad. He was very bad. And he'd already beat up his teacher's sister. He'd already beat her up, and she left.
You know what? That happened that time because the guys, they have the like 14, 16, 18 years old and still in the school. And yeah, this is almost adult.
All right, let's see if we can answer some of these questions. There's only 5 questions, so it can't be too hard. And they're multiple choice. Okay, Mr. Stewart had to fight Guy because A, Guy refused to settle the matter any other way. B, Guy had beaten up his sister. C, he did not want to be thought of as a chicken. D, he knew that Guy deserved to get a beating. Why did Mr. Stewart fight Guy?
A.
Okay, I think
because I put because a guy going to do the same that he did to her sister.
Right. So actually there are two answers to that. Guy had beaten up his sister and he refused to settle the matter in any other way because he knew that he was going to fight him. He knew that when he came.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah,
he knew that. Very good.
That's no matter for him. he don't want to fight it.
Right. Okay, the fight was important because Mr. Stewart, A, earned Guy's respect, B, learned to accept Guy's faults, C, proved that he was a better fighter than Guy, D, showed Guy who was boss. What do you think?
Show a guy who was the boss.
You think D, show him who was boss?
No, this because
earning Guy's respect.
Earning Guy's respect.
Earn Guy's respect. Yeah. And in the end, he earned his respect, didn't he? So Guy, even though he got beat up, he should have been still mad, he wasn't. He respected him. So that answer is A. That is correct. Number 3, Guy shows that he has a sense of what is fair and decent.
Yeah, after the fighting with Mr. Stewart.
Right. After the fight with Mr. Stewart. D, after the fight with Mr. Stewart. Okay, number 4. A main theme expressed in this story is that
he learned a lesson.
the best way to make students act properly is to beat them up.
No.
No.
No, that is not the big theme. What's the theme?
For me, this is important. Is the A. Is a clean, a pretty schoolhouse is important to the students.
No,
you don't care. A person who has made his mind to fight you it is possible to teach a group with students. D.
That is impossible to teach a group with wild students.
This is the best way to make students act properly is to beat them up.
That's what Pedro said. No, that's not. Okay, let's look at
this is impossible to teach a group of the wild students.
Yeah.
Okay, but is that a look at B? It is difficult to reason with a person who has made up his mind to fight you. Is that what happened in the story? Guy had made up his mind he was going to fight Mr. Stewart, didn't he? He knew he beat up his sister, so he thought, come on, let me beat you up too.
Yeah.
You know, so he had already made up his mind. He was going to fight.
Yeah.
So it is really difficult to reason with somebody. He couldn't reason with him, could he? So I think it honestly is B, a difficult to reason with some people.
Okay.
Okay, number 5. This story probably takes place. I already told you.
In a boys' reform school?
No. No. Where did it take place?
In a country one-room schoolhouse, maybe. Yeah, it's B, because it's not in New York City. It's not 200 years ago.
Okay. It was in the country one-room schoolhouse. Remember, there were grades 1 through 12 in one big room. So all the kids were all together with one teacher.
Yes.
I wouldn't like to be that.
This was hard.
I wouldn't like to be that teacher. That would be scary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's hard.
We will finish up this next week. We answered the questions on about the story. The next one is putting details in order. You're going to put what happened first. Y'all can work on this for next week, and then it'll talks a little bit about, can you help Guy with his English? So we're going to change his sentences, his country sentences into correct sentences. And then we're back to some more of the ceaseless and sorrowful and mindfulness and all those FUL and LES words. Okay. And then the last page is on homonyms on 128. So we'll do those next week. Right now, for a couple of minutes, we're going to do, and it's only going to be for a couple of minutes because it's already 6 minutes after. So okay. I'm going to share screen, and I actually, I think I know I did. I emailed these to you today.
Yes, I got it.
I think these are the ones you couldn't find. Now I think you can go and print those off if you want to, or you can just leave them on your phone and just kind of review over them. We're just going to review over them. And then next week, we're going to review one more time. And then I also have and I think I sent that to you also. Yes, the practice. And on this practice ED pronunciation. What I want you to do, and you can do this ahead of time or we'll do it next week in class, whichever you want to do. You will look over, look at these words. You'll have to look back at your other sheet that tells you the pronunciations, whether it's pronounced with the sound T, or it's pronounced with the sound D, or if it's pronounced with the sound ED. Okay. And you'll put in the little blank right there before it, a T, a D, or an ED. Okay. And that'll be for next week. And we'll do it in class. If you don't have time to do it, that's okay. But I did want us to look and review the rules again. And verbs that have ED in the past tense are tricky to pronounce. And we've already found that out. I hear in your reading and your pronunciation that that's one of the hardest things that you have. It's much harder for you than your verb tenses right now. So we're going to work on this. The ending ED makes 3 different sounds. It makes a D sound, a T sound, and then an ED. Sometimes it'll sound like an ED or an ID, ed or ed, but it's basically an ED sound. Okay. But it may sound like a short I sometimes. Now, the easiest thing to look at, I think, is this last one. The sound of ED comes after the T or D sound. Look at that first word right there, wanted. What is the last letter in the word want?
Hard.
What's the last letter before you put the ED on?
D, yeah.
Before you put the ED on, what's the last letter?
T.
T.
Wanted.
So this sound of ED comes after the T or D sound. So you're looking at this word, the last letter of the root word before the ED is T. So okay. It's going to sound like ED. It's going to sound like wanted. Okay. Wanted. Wanted.
Wanted.
Now, that's the easiest thing. Let's find one with, okay, look at handed. What's the last word before, the last letter before you add the ED?
D.
D. Okay, that's the one of the two sounds up here, a T or a D at the end of the word, and you add ED, then you're going to sound it like ed. Handed.
Handed.
Handed. Yes.
Shouted. Shouted.
Shouted.
Shouted.
Yes.
Paraded.
Paraded. Paraded.
Paraded. Okay, paraded.
Needed.
Yes.
Added.
Haunted.
Uh-huh.
Stated.
Haunted. Seated.
Waited.
Stranded. You mean to make it a little bit bigger?
Stranded.
Okay, yes,
Would it help to be a little bit bigger now? Is that better?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
What you doing, Pedro? Repeat it.
Repeat it.
Yes.
Repeat. Commanded. Responded. Ended.
Yes, very good. Now, if you will look at the root word or the word before you add ED in all of these words, the ending letter is a T or a D. So
okay.
any of those words,
okay,
any words you see that ends in a T or a D and it's got ED added, you're going to pronounce it with the ed. Wanted, hunted, needed. So first thing you want to look is to see what letter is at the end of the root word. Now, that's the ED sound. Now to get the D sound where you're not saying the ed, you're just saying the letter D. This sound of ED, the D sound, comes after a voiced consonant. Not a T and not a D. It's another voiced consonant. Now, look at the first word is turned.
Turned.
Yes. The last letter and the word before the ED is added is what?
M.
N. Let me make, yes, that is correct. That is a consonant. And it's voiced. When you say the word turn, you're saying that in. Turn. N. You're saying that consonant sound. Turn. So if it's a voiced consonant, it's just going to have this ED is just going to sound like D. It's not going to sound like ED. It's just going to sound like D. So it's going to sound like turned. Turned. You're just going to put a D on the end. Just pretend like that E is not even there.
Farmed. Moved. Curled.
Learned. Just you're gonna be pronouncing that word just like there's not an E on the ED. Learned. Yes, very good. Learned. Peered. Yes. Stared. Yes. Shrugged. Mumbled. Staggered. Sparkled. What's this one?
Wondered. Wise.
It's like whiz, like he whizzed about that bird, whizzed by my ear. Whiz. Traveled. Yes, just a D. Okay.
Hurried.
Hurried. Good.
Hurried.
Good. Just the D sound. Very good. Now, in this next batch, it gives a lot of letters that you're going to have to look for. This is the sound of T. The ED is going to sound like T, the T sound. And you're looking for letters at the end of the root word before you add the ED. The letters are F, K, P, S, a CH, or an SH.
Okay.
Now look at this first word. It has an SH. Wished. It's going to sound like wished. It's going to sound like a T at the end.
Wished.
Okay.
Wished.
And here you've got an S. Kissed.
Kissed.
Kissed. Kissed.
There's another S.
Missed.
Missed.
Missed. Fished. Fished. Rocked.
Rocked.
Knocked.
Knocked. Good.
Checked.
Checked.
Pressed.
Stopped.
You're gonna say it. You're gonna say it just like it would be spelled S-T-O-P-T. Stopped.
S-T-O-P-T.
Stopped. Yes,
Stopped.
that's correct. All right.
S-T-O-P-T. Stopped.
Yes.
Stopped.
Yes. Stomped.
Skipped.
Yes.
Sneaked.
Sneaked. Yes.
Sneaked.
Rushed. Oh,
Rushed.
I told you.
Rushed.
Sorry.
Rushed.
Watched.
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 Raced.
Marched.
Raced.
Yes. All right. All of these words that we have in this column this one has an SH. There's an S. SH. What about rock?
CK.
Or K. It has a K. You're looking for K.
CK. SS.
PP.
P.
PP.
MP.
PP.
Well, you're just looking for F. The only two letters you're looking for together is CH and SH.
Okay.
Those are the two you're looking for together, but most of them are going to be F, K, P, or S. What about rushed?
SH.
SH. Very good. What about marched?
CH.
TCH.
What about raced?
RC.
AC.
C.
RC.
ED.
CH.
We don't fit in there.
We don't have C.
This is E. No, they don't have it. Only D. ED.
Yeah, that was supposed to be in the exception thing. So just
okay.
You can scratch that one off.
Okay, English is English. I understand.
Yeah, they always have exceptions, and I have a whole list of exceptions
some exceptions too. Okay.
But the one thing, if you look at first, in all of these are going to be pronounced with either a D or a T.
Okay.
The ones that you're going to pronounce like wanted. Hunted with the two syllables.
Yeah.
This is going to be your two syllable sounding words, and they're going to end with the word is going to end with a T or before you add the ED. And that'll be probably the easiest way for you to look at a word is look for that T and D. If it has a T or a D in that root word, then it's going to be the 2-syllable sounding with the ED. So, okay, that's all we're going to do tonight because, oh my goodness, it's 20 minutes after 8. It's time for me to go have a snack. It's my snack time. So, next week, we'll kind of go over this again. Like I said, I emailed it to you, so you should have it on your phone or your computer.
Thank you.
Look at it again, and then we'll go and do the practice. If you don't have time to do it ahead of time, don't worry about it. We'll do it in class. But this is one area that I see that you're struggling. So we're going to work on it for a couple of months. Whew, then school will be done.
Yeah.
But anyway, and we still don't know right now if we'll be meeting in person or not in August. We just don't know that. We hope to be able to tell you yes or no by the end of April when we finish class, because our last class will be April the 29th. But we may not be able to. If we're not able to tell you, if because we've got to check with the church and see if the church will let us. And who knows what's going to be happening by next August. You know, all this could be gone, or we could have another something coming in. So but I will let you know. I will email you. I mean, I will text you all and let you know if we'll be online or in person. I hope we're in person. So.
Yes.
I'm tired of online. It's better than nothing, but
yes.
But anyway, all right. Well, you all have a good night and stay safe in this ice. Be careful.
Thank you. We are
do the same.
All right, I will. I'm staying inside. I'm not going outside.
Yeah.
All right. See you next Thursday.
See you. Bye.